Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. If this is coffee, please bring me some tea. But if this is tea, please bring me some coffee. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. This country, with its institutions, belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. He has a right to criticize, who has a heart to help. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God, cannot long retain it. You have to do your own growing, no matter how tall your grandfather was. If we could first know where we are, and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do, and how to do it. I remember my mother's prayers, and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. Avoid popularity if you would have peace. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. All that I am, or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. When I do good I feel good, when I do bad I feel bad, and that's my religion. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell. It is simply purgatory. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. No matter how much cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. The best way to get a bad law repealed is to enforce it strictly. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Let's have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who'll get me a book I ain't read. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. Towering genius disdains a beaten path. It seeks regions hitherto unexplored. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Stand with anybody that stands right. Stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. These men ask for just the same thing, fairness, and fairness only. This, so far as in my power, they, and all others, shall have. When I am getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I am going to say, and 2/3 about him and what he is going to say. Never regret what you don't write. It has so happened in all ages of the world that some have labored, and others have, without labor, enjoyed a large proportion of the fruits. I don't know who my grandfather was. I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh I should die. When the white man governs himself, that is self-government. But when he governs himself and also governs another man, that is more than self-government, that is despotism. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. When I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. We hear highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Hold on with a bulldog grip, and chew and choke as much as possible. Slavery is founded in the selfishness of man's nature. Opposition to it is his love of justice. These principles are an eternal antagonism, and when brought into collision so fiercely, as slavery extension brings them, shocks and throes and convulsions must ceaselessly follow. As our case is new, we must think and act anew. If you think you can slander a woman into loving you, or a man into voting for you, try it till you are satisfied. That I am not a member of any Christian church is true, but I have never denied the truth of the Scriptures, and I have never spoken with intentional disrespect of religion in general, or of any denomination of Christians in particular. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. Ballots are the rightful and peaceful successors to bullets. A man watches his pear tree day after day, impatient for the ripening of the fruit. Let him attempt to force the process, and he may spoil both fruit and tree. But let him patiently wait, and the ripe pear at length falls into his lap. There is no grievance that is a fit object of redress by mob law. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be old. I pass my life in preventing the storm from blowing down the tent, and I drive in the pegs as fast as they are pulled up. I have talked with great men, and I do not see how they differ from others. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. Important principles may and must be inflexible. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. If the great American people will only keep their temper on both sides of the line, the troubles will come to an end, and the question which now distracts the country will be settled just as surely as all other difficulties of like character which have originated in this government have been adjusted. The way for a young man to rise is to improve himself in every way he can, never suspecting that anybody wishes to hinder him. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. Everybody likes a compliment. I never had a policy. I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, no, man was made for immortality. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We, of this Congress and this administration, will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation. I have great respect for the semicolon. It is a mighty handy little fellow. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new at all. I can make more generals, but horses cost money. The highest art is always the most religious, and the greatest artist is always a devout person. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. Knavery and flattery are blood relations. Tact is the ability to describe others as they see themselves. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other.